The last time any of us heard the name Ben Simmons, it was likely because of the news of him being ruled out of competing in the play-in tournament, which takes place next week. But there's reportedly a slight chance that Ben Simmons will be able to play for the first round of the postseason. Stay tuned in to today's video to be caught up on the situation surrounding Ben Simmons. So what made the Brooklyn Nets take Simmons off the lineup in the first place? Nets fans went into a frenzy when news broke around 2 weeks ago that Ben Simmons will not be able to make his season debut due to a herniated disc in his back. Nets coach Steve Nash said, while he remains optimistic that Simmons will return in the playoffs, he says he would be shocked if Simmons played in the Nets' play-in game. This injury came at the worst possible time for Simmons. He was traded to the Nets just before the trade deadline in February after requesting a trade from the Philadelphia 76ers last summer, citing mental health concerns, but has been unable to play due to ongoing back issues. According to Coach Nash, Simmons showed a lot of progress in last Monday's training session by being able to shoot and beginning to work with resistance bands, but the team still has no idea when or if Simmons will be able to play this season. Next, injury and recovery report. Simmons' recovery from his back injury is going on track. He's been traveling with the team and has been on the court for shoot-around and exercise, but he has been restricted to shooting drills and has not been cleared to run or make dynamic movements. It's unclear when Simmons hurt his back, but he had a herniated disc that needed an epidural in late March to relieve the pain. The procedure appears to have helped to some extent, but Simmons still has a long way to go before he can return to the court, and the Nets will not rush him. His back pain has disappeared, according to some reports, implying a debut in the coming weeks in the best-case scenario. Simmons' defense and versatility in the field should benefit this team greatly, especially given the team's title aspirations. The question is, what shape is the Aussie in right now? According to Brandon Robinson, who says the player has never felt better, the answer is a resounding yes. According to Simmons, the Nets players have made him more focused on his game than ever, and according to a direct quote from Robinson, Simmons apparently walks around like Jordan, and if that is any indicator, good news might be coming soon. So why the sudden optimism? There have been reports that if the Nets can somehow find a way to fight through the play-in tournaments and make their way into the actual playoffs, there's a chance that Ben Simmons could play this season. Looking at Ben's recovery pattern, he may be able to play in a game for the first time since last season's playoffs if the Brooklyn Nets are able to go on a long playoff run. Simmons is still yet to participate in a full practice with the Nets, so when he is cleared to return to the lineup, the roster will have very little time to gel with him. Regardless, the prospect of adding a three-time All-Star and one of the NBA's best defenders to the rotation outweighs the potential of any chemistry issues. While integrating a new player into the rotation during the playoffs may not be ideal, Nets head coach Steve Nash told reporters after a practice session that the team is more than excited to see Simmons make his debut and would give it their all to have Simmons on the court. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, if Brooklyn makes it that far in the playoffs, Simmons may be able to make his debut in the first round. Right now, it seems just as up to the Nets as it does to Ben Simmons for him to be able to make a return this season. Next, Ben Simmons' training clip with Kevin Durant gives fans hope. Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets are in full postseason mode as they prepare for the playoffs. The Brooklyn Nets recently released a video of the team in practice, which included a couple of appearances by Ben Simmons. Simmons appears in at least 2 cameos in the 43-second clip, despite the fact that he has yet to play for the Nets since joining them from the Philadelphia 76ers earlier this year. Simmons did not appear to participate in the team's 5-on-5 practice, but there's no denying that he has a new lease on life after being traded to the team of his choice. The Nets have not provided an official timeline for the former Rookie of the Year's return to the court. If Simmons is able to return for the NBA playoffs, it would not be surprising. Given that he's yet to play with his new team, we wouldn't expect him to make an immediate impact for the Nets if he does. On the other hand, this could be completely wrong, and Simmons could prove to be the X factor that propels the team forward. Next up, Irving and Durant earned the Nets a narrow win. The Nets started off the tournament in a tough spot, being number 10. With Simmons out, all the weight of carrying the team to the playoffs fell on Kyrie Irving, and boy oh boy did they deliver. The Nets just narrowly escaped with a win in Tuesday's game against Cleveland, giving fans hope while still reminding the team of their shortcomings. The Nets have earned the number 7 seed after a 115-108 win. This relieves a bit of pressure on the team, since if they had retained the number 10 seed, they would have had to win 2 consecutive games in order to move into the next round. After leading 40-20 by the end of the first quarter, the Nets scored 8 points in the next 10.5 minutes. They led by as much as 22 points in the third quarter before allowing Cleveland to close to within 6 points in the fourth. Irving made his first 12 shots and finished with 34 points and 12 assists on 12 for 15 shooting. Durant finished with 25 points and 11 assists on 9 for 16 shooting. The Nets would rather not rely on their superstars to bail them out on many of these tough looks if they want to survive the season. What are the chances of the Brooklyn Nets making it to the end of the playoffs? While their position has drastically improved since the start of the season, the Nets are still in a tough spot. It seems as if the entire team depends on the Kyrie and Durant game right now, which isn't a great sign. If Tuesday's close call teaches us anything, it's that a team should never over-depend on their star players. But you can't deny how good these two can hold up against opponents. The Nets will face the Celtics in the first round of the NBA playoffs after defeating the Cavaliers on the NBA play-in tournament on Sunday, April 17th. The Nets have a lot of momentum heading into their game against the Celtics. They've won 4 straight regular season games, and with Durant and Irving both on top of their game, a lot of fans are placing their bets on the Brooklyn Nets. But according to experts, the Nets still only have -145 odds of winning against the Celtics +115. And while we've seen miracles happen on the court before, the numbers spelled disaster for the Nets on Sunday. Next, Bruce Brown's criticism of the Boston Celtics irritates Kevin Durant. When Durant heard Nets guard Bruce Brown criticize the Boston Celtics, saying that because Celtics big man Robert Williams III is out, the Nets can attack them down low in their upcoming Eastern Conference quarterfinal series, he was quick to rebuke his teammates' comments at the post-game conference after a win over the Celtics. Durant went on to say that we respect our opponents. We don't need to talk about what we're going to do to them. Aside from controlling Brown's words, Durant understands that defending Tatum will be the most important aspect of the series. In early March, the Celtics All-Star scored 50 points in a win over the Nets, and he continued to improve his game while leading the Celtics to the Eastern Conference's number 2 seed. Now, NBA playoffs first-round news. The NBA playoffs for 2022 have begun. 20 teams qualified for the postseason, but after the play-in tournament on Friday night, that number will be reduced to 16, and the first round of the postseason will begin on Saturday, April 16. After a season full of surprises, the title race in both conferences appears to be wide open, with plenty of intriguing first-round matchups. The first round of the NBA playoffs will begin on Saturday afternoon, with the 4th-seeded Mavericks hosting the 5th-seeded Jazz at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The 76ers series against the Raptors, the Warriors series against the Nuggets, and the Grizzlies series against the West number 7 seed will all begin on Saturday, before the 4 other series begin on Sunday. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think there's a chance of Ben Simmons making the playoffs? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.